Welcome back to It's Always About Me podcast, a space where we untangle the thoughts that weighs us down and we weave them into something lighter, more hopeful, and more true to who we are. I'm your host, Ishpreet Kaur, and I'm so grateful you have chosen to spend a little time with me today. This is episode 3, and it's going to be a deeply personal one because today we are talking about a voice that lives inside all of us, the inner critic. That whisper that turns into a roar, especially when we are about to step into a potential. The voice that says, "Who do you think you are?" Or, "You will never be good enough, so don't even try." You're not alone if you have heard it. In fact, you are human. We all have that voice. It's how we relate to it that makes a difference. Today, we are going to sit with it, not in judgment, but in curiosity. We are going to understand where it comes from, how it impacts us, and how we can begin to build a kinder inner world. Because healing the inner critic isn't about shutting it down, it's about changing the way we listen to ourselves. Let's get into it. Chapter 1. What is the inner critic? The inner critic is often described as the internal voice that constantly judges, evaluates, and puts us down. It may sound like, "That wasn't good enough. Why can't you do anything right? Everyone else has it figured out except you." But where does this voice actually come from? Often, it's rooted in our childhood. Think about it. When you were little and you spilled milk, what were you told? Were you comforted or were you scolded? If you were shamed, even subtly, for making mistakes, your brain learned to fear failure. That fear often manifests as the inner critic. Psychologists believe this voice is formed through a combination of early experiences, societal expectations, and the brain's natural negativity bias. Our brains are wired to focus more on what might go wrong than what's going right. It's a survival mechanism. But in a world where physical threats are rare and psychological ones are constant, this survival instinct often turns inward. The inner critic wants us to be safe, but its version of safety is rooted in sameness, perfection, and approval. Anything outside of that, like taking a risk, speaking our truth, or showing vulnerability, triggers it. Here's the catch: the inner critic doesn't tell the truth, it tells the most fearful, limited version of the truth. Learning to recognize when it's speaking, it's the first step. So the next time you hear that voice, pause. Ask yourself, would I say this to someone I love? Chapter 2: The Real Cost of the Narrative. Let's talk about what it actually costs us to live with a loud inner critic. When we let that voice go unchecked, it chips away at our confidence. We second guess ourselves constantly. We procrastinate, not because we are lazy, but because we are afraid of failing. We burn out trying to prove ourselves to people who may not even be watching. We compare, we shrink, we hold back. One of the biggest costs is our joy. Think about that. The inner critic doesn't just stop you from achieving, it stops you from enjoying. You might have a great moment. A presentation goes well, someone compliments you, but before the joy can even settle in, the inner critic swoops in. "You got lucky. Don't get too comfortable. You will mess up next time." This cycle is exhausting. It becomes a filter through which we view our entire life. And the worst part, we start believing it. We begin to think we are the critic, that this voice is our true voice. It's not. You are not the harsh thoughts in your head. You are the one listening. And that means you have power. Chapter 4: The Science of Self Compassion. Here's something you might not know. Self compassion is scientifically proven to reduce the intensity of the inner critic. Dr. Christine Neff, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right or not, a pioneer in this field, describes self compassion as treating yourself with the same kindness and understanding as you would a friend. It includes three key elements: mindfulness, common humanity, and self kindness. Mindfulness means being aware of your pain without exaggerating or ignoring it. Common humanity reminds us that suffering is a shared human experience, and self kindness asks us to be gentle with ourselves instead of critical. When we practice self compassion, we shift our nervous system out of fight or flight and into a place of calm and clarity. Our bodies release oxytocin, the bonding hormone. We actually feel safer, which means the inner critic loses its power. Self compassion doesn't make you weak or passive, it makes you resilient because you stop fighting yourself and start supporting yourself. Chapter 5: Techniques to Heal the Inner Critic. So, how do we start healing this voice? Here are 5 techniques you can try. You can call it Isabella or Sophie or you know, Adha, whatever you like. The name I gave it to my inner critic is Sophia. Call it something playful if you like. This creates emotional distance. Challenge its stories. Most inner critic statements are distortion. If it says, you always mess up, ask, always? Really? Use evidence. Your rational brain is a powerful ally. Third, practice the friend test. Would you say this to someone you care about? If not, it doesn't belong in your head either. Fourth, write a reassurance script. Create a list of go to affirmations that feel believable. Not just I'm amazing, but things like I'm doing my best. And that is enough. Fifth, create safe rituals, whether it's journaling, meditating, painting, or just stepping outside. Find rituals that help you reconnect with who you really are. Healing isn't a one time thing, it's a relationship you build with yourself slowly, consistently. Chapter 6: Reflection and Visualization. Let's try something together right now. Take a deep breath, inhale, and exhale. Close your eyes if you can. Picture a moment when your inner critic was the loudest. Maybe you were about to speak in public, post online, ask for help, or maybe you simply woke up feeling not good enough. Now imagine someone who truly loves you standing beside you. They place a hand on your shoulder, they look at you in the eyes and say, you are enough. You are trying, you are growing, and I see how hard it's been. Let the soak in. Let it melt the criticism. This voice, the voice of compassion, is always available to you. You just have to choose it. Before we wrap up, I want to say this clearly. You are not broken. You are not behind. You are not too much. And you are not enough. You are a whole, evolving human being who is allowed to make mistakes, change direction, and still be worthy of love. Healing your inner critic won't happen in a day, but every small act of compassion, every time you challenge that voice instead of obey it, is a step toward freedom. Thank you for spending this time with me today. If this episode helped you, please consider sharing it, leaving a review, or connect with me on Instagram. It's always about me podcast. And I'd love to hear your thoughts, your stories, and how your journey with your inner critic is unfolding. Until next time, be kind to yourself. You are listening to It's Always About Me, and this is just the beginning.